swear, I spend like all these minutes trying to get comfortable in a comfortable position and get myself kind of centered. It's kind of silly. But anyways, I don't know that they're going to let me post today. And I feel more awake. But, man, I feel weird. Like, things are so weird. The whole weekend was weird. Like, I don't know. It is just so much like, just the world becomes different when you realize what the world is. It just becomes different. I don't know how to explain. It is just, it's a perception or something. A perception is hard to explain. It's developed. And so I just say in the awakening, as the process goes, and the more you release the three-dimensional constraints on your mind, the more you just really do become something different. It's not as attached, but it is, the attachment is like holds you somehow. I don't know, like on the drives, like I've talked about the different drives when I've gone, and how, like, that they keep changing, and like things kept changing, and it would be like this whole different drive. And I started really realizing, especially driving out, and I started seeing like, oh man, how like time changes in some of these places and stuff. And I started really seeing the space between where the, like, it's kind of like the same thing as if you looked at things as a grid. Like if we just looked at it as like a light grid instead of like the populated places. If just the lightings, if we just step back and looked at the whole thing, like the grid system that's created from the energy of all of us coming together in certain areas. So that creates like a star, like how it's that energy, because the stars and stuff are like energy. And like I said, it's like almost like a person dancing out there. And the thing that is, because especially when you look up close to stars, it looks like someone dancing. And then when you, in each star could be, depending on its own energy, could go as big as a planet, you know. And then all of us also, all the souls that are on the planet also are a part of the planet. Like it's like, it's all part of the same system. And so you, and the problem, like what the planet is moving out of, is this mindlessness of not being connected to her, or, you know, your environment, you not being connected, not caring. And that disconnect is, you know, it's like disconnecting from your heart or your lungs or your brain or something. Like, so we disconnected from the planet and focused on the corporation, what they were, you know, like, we'll feed you, we'll educate you, we will give you money, we will give you this, we will give you that. And got the focus and the herding us into these containment centers. And then, but the space in between, it is, man, this is hard to explain. It's like I can see the things and understand the things, but it's so hard to understand or to explain like concepts or something. Maybe some people could do it better, but it is like the reality of the city is created by the energy that's there. Like if everybody left the city, the energy would be gone. And then it would kind of, just like in the movies, how it just starts to look overgrown. Animals, it takes on a new energy. The energy that's there with the people, it's like the dancing stars. And so that energy creates this, a place a place where things happen. You know, like anybody who's lived in different places, some people have lived in the same place their whole life. If you've lived in different places, you realize like it has its own energy. Even if you travel and go to different places, you see it has its own energy. It has its own way, the way the people act to each other, the way the people talk to each other. Each place has its own kind of energy, its own planetary system or something, you know. Like I've been saying, each place is like if we understood, I believe, like we think of things on this idea of planets. I think it's just you know, like here where we are, it's just, I think, land masses. It's kind of like land masses where realities, you know, pop up. And you got to remember also, we were all living in our own reality. We were all working on our own stuff until we started coming together on community things. And it's been going for, you know, a while. And so, you know, it's all been a part of this process. I mean, the process of the awakening goes so far back. Like, you know, it isn't like something is just all of a sudden happening. We have to, this has been going on for a while. And it is like, it's kind of like the same way, because what they keep showing me is the way like water moves, the way a wave kind of, you know, it doesn't just go from here to there. It has to move into position. And so we've been moving into position as a collective, as each individual, but as a collective as well, moving into this, coming together, noticing this or that. And, you know, because that's the whole thing is awakening has to do with is, you know, you notice something is like, wait a minute, you know, 1 minute ago she had Pumas on and now she's got the fire Vans on. Like, what's going on? How'd she change shoes in the middle of a rampage? Like, so you have these things where people are starting to notice and question things. And but you know, them to notice the shoes, and they had to go through these different things to actually, you know, notice shoes. Like how many people who aren't into that kind of shoe wouldn't notice, but they may notice, oh, she went from a spike heel to a clog. Like, you know what I mean? It is each person is waking up in their own time, and each person who gets to that point of speaking their truth and saying, hey, wait a minute, something's off here, helps others to awaken, because it spreads. And even when they don't, even just energetically standing next to somebody and something clicking in, that energy just shot out like a fucking, you know, like a thing that just came out of nowhere and goes into the penetration of other energies around you, and depending on their own blocks. See, that is the thing, and that's what we're trying to release. That's the awakening. That's the part I'm trying to help people with, is the blocks. You're blocking yourself. You got to heal the stuff. And that, I think, is why they've been telling me about just talking more about my story and stuff, and trying to help people figure out how they can overcome their own stuff, because people, trauma and stuff take people down, and you've got to be resilient. And, you know, and I do have another level of understanding this stuff on a soul level. It's so hard even when I'm talking to people about their stuff and stuff, because there's a difference in how things affect them when you're focused on life as this three-dimensional character, and when you are focused on life as a soul. So it's very different. And so I have a harder time with the three-dimensional. Like, that to me becomes kind of absurd. like it kind of becomes laughable, because it so doesn't matter. It is about the soul stuff. And, you know, just like on the thing where people, they waste all their life focusing on the 3D stuff, and, you know, not being able to manage their emotions and stuff. And then they get to the other side once they cross over, and they have to witness the whole thing in themselves. and see that. But see, they would heal something. Something would heal. But that is how there's so much unfinished business that goes from life to life to life. And people don't realize, like, the anger and resentment you have to different people is based on life after life after life. These aren't just like, oh, you suck as a mom. We have deep shit happening. So many people turning against their family members, but it is also this, this psychological way, just get people out of your lives because they want to keep us, they want everything out. They want your gender out. They want your culture out. They want your family out. So that's the direction that they lead you as being the good way to go. And as long as you keep, trusting them and, listening to them and not listening to yourself, because once you listen to yourself and you go inside, your soul's not scared of a trigger. Your soul's not scared of somebody. Your ego, your ego is feels vulnerable and will try and protect you. But the triggers are blessings, and I wish people would start seeing it that way. But right now, there's such a, that's going to be a part of the flip, I think, when people start realizing, the triggers are your blessing. It is your opportunity to see what it is that you're holding inside of you. Because the things that you hold inside of you, how else are they going to get brought to the surface? Like, how long do you want to carry this shit around? Like, you want to let it go. So you want the trigger to bring it up. You want to get to the meat of it. You want to find out, why you're reactive in some ways, why you have biases towards certain people, what it is in you that holds you back. Because all of those different relationships, all those different, that's just untapped love, honestly. Because when you get into that space of love, everybody is love, and all the love that you can go out and you can give and receive. And so, you can feel good in life, but you can't be, a walking wound and expect others to, step around you or make you feel better or whatever. And that's what people go around doing. They look for relationships that they can take from to make them feel better. And they keep relationships away from them that make them have to face anything. And that is, so that's a toxic way to, that's not really healing. But, like I said, yesterday I haven't posted it yet. I've got a couple of videos to post besides this one, and I still don't know. I'll try and post one today and see if they'll allow it, but it still might not be till tomorrow. And there was more stuff too. It's crazy now because then it does seem like there is some stuff that I would want to say, because right yesterday, which nobody has heard yet, but I had said something about now it's going to get to the point they're going to start flagging us for saying this word that is, and then oh. So that place is, just got another one. This is, I think, was a methanol, something, a huge another spill. So, they've got, like I've said, fucking since the beginning, is, pour this one on. Does it explode? Oh, let's keep adding to them. And that is what they've done. And so I said yesterday, State Farm had already said there's going to be a bad thing that's going to happen today. And they're going to need, I think today's the 29th. If it's not the 29th, it's about to be. And, so there can be an explosion. But they saw this coming. They knew what day they were going to need all these people to come and help. So the new toxin is added. And so it could probably be, and I can't see anything ahead. It's not like anybody in Ohio would see anyways. And it's not like you can get everybody to realize, that they should, because their soul is doing what it's supposed to do. And there's going to be people who are going to leave. And they are meant to leave. It's so crazy how people just keep thinking this shit happens by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. It is so freaking, so perfectly timed on every single thing. Like, the fabric of life is a creation. It's destined. It's already printed. And so, everything is so exact, and, there is no escaping death or any of that stuff, preventing it, wearing something that will make you not get No, it is what is supposed to happen will happen. And it happens the way it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen. And there's no running from what is supposed to happen. It is destiny. And that is going to be like something I think that I don't know. I don't know how people look at destiny, but I think people are going to be looking at it very differently very soon when they really, because I really don't think the people really understand that, you know, you're on a set game. You are here playing a part. You're here for a destined event. Your life has to do with your own lessons, your soul, your journey. Your relationships have to do with the people that you go through these different lives with, working things out. And a lot of lives you don't work it out. You cause more things. And so then you go into these lives and you've got all of this anger and resentment towards this person. You're carrying deep wounds and you associate it to things that are going on in this life. But you have to be open to seeing more, understanding more of what's inside of you, releasing more of the information. I'm seeing more people now talking about, you know, this is antennas. This isn't just, you know, something that grows out of our hair, out of our head. It's actually, we need it to, it is, well, to me, I in the Vril Society, they said that it is, you pick up more messaging, the energy that's out there, the conversations that are out there. You know, you can tell, you can hear them because your antenna. The Vril Society had really long hair, and I think I you know, and I didn't even think of that until then, because when I got my brain injury in '09. And, you know, I was living a totally different life. Very, you know, I guess kind of I'll just intermingle my story as I go through the different, I think I do that anyways. But I am going to try and get more of like start again. I think I did it in the beginning, told kind of more of my story, like being born to my parents and where it started and stuff like that. So, but in this, now I forgot what I was going to say about it. Cause, oh yeah, so in '09, I got my brain injury, but I was living, to me, when I look back on how I was living, it was like a drug addict who's like, you know, jonesing for, you know, their whole life becomes, getting the next high. You know, because my whole thing, and when you're a workaholic, you get a high. You know, you can get a high just like going in and counting up your hours and, you know, looking at how much you got paid per hour and all of that stuff. You know, you become very focused on the dollar, the amount. You start really, you know, success, like it becomes associated with money. And then when you get into certain professions, everybody kind of has that same thing. It becomes very competitive. Like I even had a doctor come over to my house. It was like, oh, I think it was a football game, and the school was right next to my house. And so I think one of the doctors where I worked, his kid was playing. So another doctor, it was a bunch of us there. And it was, since it was right next to my house, they came over. Not everybody did, but the one doctor, Dr. Bocek, who liked to party, he came over. And I remember somebody saying, somebody told me that he said, "Is this how nurses live? This is like, if this is how nurses live, we're paying you too much." So, you know, just really just struck me all of a sudden. I was like, what? But anyways, it was very, the field, you know, the medical field is very about ego and money and success and who's making more, who's driving what, who, you know, who's sleeping with who. It's very, it's a toxic environment. It's just, there's a reason why they make soap operas and shows around the environment. And so it's, it's just stupid. But I was, I was a total workaholic. And then I would go and spend my money so I could go get really cute clothes and have a nice place, a cute car, everything, was the image. It was the image you're putting out. So you could go out and get attention, and then you get attention, and it's just toxic. There's no real connection. There's just, a lot of toxic people running around doing toxic shit to each other. And so when I got the brain injury, since I was working in the medical, it was like, no, I think she's faking. But I wasn't faking. And I was really struggling, and there was nobody there for me. That just all of a sudden got me real emotional. My nose got I remember how it was so hard. The people who were there for me couldn't understand. I mean, like, my mom, people could be there for you the best they can, but when you're going through something that is so personal and so traumatic, there is nobody who's going to be able to carry that for you. It's a one-man show, and it is, it's hard. There was a lot of things in the beginning I had to overcome. I was losing I lost my identity. I lost my language. I couldn't talk. Like, now you think if I have problems with words, oh my God, you should have heard me before. And I was aware of it. It wasn't like I was born that way. I was aware that I had a problem, and nobody was helping me. No, the dog, nobody. It was just like, and I was struggling. Like, and people would come up and start talking to me. I wouldn't know who they were. I was just like lost. And I would be hurting people's feelings and stuff because I wouldn't remember who they were. And they didn't know what was going on with me. And it does become a point, where I would say a lot, I got a brain injury, but, people just don't understand. But, they look at you and they think, well, you look normal, but you don't understand the scramble that's going on in there. I'm trying to see the yolk in scrambled eggs. Like, this is difficult, what I was going through. And so, and there was nobody who could step in and do anything. So I had to go through a whole process that was devastating by myself. And there was a lot of things that were, changing in me, and I was becoming so frustrated. I would become frustrated, and I was very impulsive. I was more impulsive than, or reactive and stuff. And so usually when somebody gets a brain injury, the people who used to be around them don't like to be around them anymore because they're just different. It's not the same person. Just like I've said before, the Kelly that went into the hospital was not the Kelly that came out of the hospital. That girl never came out. I think that's always going to affect me. I can't imagine ever being able to just let go of the loss of myself. And you have to mourn it. And then people don't know what you're going through. It is so much, and I know it's not just brain injury. It could be anything. It could be an amputation. It could be a paralyzation. It could be anything that suddenly changes you away from the way you used to live. And people don't understand that, when you become disabled in any way, how hard it is and how much society has no place for you. And even all of the people that you were associated with drop off as you go, and you have to be ready to make new relationships. And it is, it's a whole thing, and you have to, it is resilience. You don't give up. You don't sit here and think I'll never have friends again. I'll never, be there. Even if you're in a wheelchair, I wouldn't even be saying I'll never walk again. Don't set the parameters. Don't set your don't hold yourself, don't bind yourself with words. You know, it's a temporary situation. Everything is a temporary situation. Nothing is permanent. And so always remember, anything you're going through, no matter if it seems permanent, nothing is permanent. I mean, even in all medical things, even in the old system, they were always coming up with new things. I mean, some of the doctors who do all this, really unethical practice, does end up helping us. The whole thing is the focus on life is about the way they want us to survive and what they want us to do. Because life is really just about, you come in and you go through your experience and then you leave. It isn't about, trying to stay here forever or any of that kind of stuff. You come in for certain experiences and then you leave. You come in to play the part for certain people and then you leave. And so they get us focused on something that is like, it's against the natural order of things. We're starting to try and control things and stuff like that. If you come in to go through paralysis, brain injury, any of this stuff, it's because it was supposed to happen. And I could see in mine, I couldn't see in the beginning. It was, I was just another one of those, oh my God, how could life do this to me again? Like, why do I just keep getting knocked down over and over? I was very much in my victim, my addiction and stuff. I was very out of control and very much like just beat down by life. I was on 18 fucking medicines. I don't know if I was on 18 right then, because they were always, adding more, every time you go in with a complaint, oh, you got a new diagnosis, more tests, more pills. It was like every fucking thing. But, that was all in my worst. I was at my worst, and it's so crazy when you're at your worst, people think you're the most functioning, you're doing the best, you're out there working and, you're making money and you're driving a nice car, you got cute clothes, that's what people think of as like the dream. So you're out there doing, living the dream, and everybody thinks that's all great. And then all of a sudden the dream ends. And it kind of becomes a nightmare for a while. You gotta, to me, I had to release a lot of things. Like, I had no concept of time anymore. Numbers, people, faces, memories. It's nonstop. I mean, it still goes on. Like, my daughter was talking to me about her friend from high school. And it's just like, there's just, it was so much of my memory just became Swiss cheese. And it bothered me. I had a problem with it for so long. I lost so much memory in my short-term memory. So even, if I was talking to you and then, I could go to the bathroom, come back, and I could have the same conversation again. Like, and that drives people crazy. But, I mean, I've got, some of my kids, we just talked about that, Mom. We don't need to talk about it again. I'll be like, okay, well, just remind me later if there's something I need to do. But, it used to be, though, when I very first started doing it, that's when they're like, do you have dementia, or what is wrong with you? And I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it is completely gone. It was like, it didn't exist. So I had to really start, I changed my idea about reality. Now I see that all these things that were happening to me was to help me to understand what was going to be happening now for so many people. And, because I started being able to just release time, release all of these things that bound me to this world, this, the rat race that they had created, the fish tank habitat. And so I was, once all of a sudden I was a strain to the system, or, I was no longer a part of it. It was like you're booted out. And then there's more and more levels to your healing, depending on your own situation. Like, I had been so toxic with relationships. And so I had toxic relationships, always, it was just, I think, a lot of, if it was somebody who I was interested in. So you look at, like, I thought, that guy's cute. And, I'm going to smile. I'm going to, I'll make the move. And then you go and you're around them, it's like there's no click, you know, so you start realizing there's more to it than just picking somebody who, you know, looks cute across the room. And then but there was such a thing, so much of that happened to me, where somebody would see me across the room, and then, you know, they'd want to talk to me, and so I would talk to them. And then so many, I think guys are a little more shallow, like they will stay more focused on what you look like, you know, and blow off your personality. I think girls are more like a little bit quicker of like, oh, his personality. But some girls, I mean, and some guys, I mean, I would say it's not a generalization. It's just a leaning, a spectrum. I think you'd find more females that kind of get over what somebody looks like and starts being bothered by their personality more than a guy. A guy will go further in and longer, I think, by how a girl looks. They'll be like, oh, well, she does this, but damn, she looks good, or something like that, you know. So, but at some point, the guys start wanting to change you and make you into what they want you to be. And so there's so much, you know, like I learned a lot through the relationships, but I had been in toxic relationships my entire life. And so that had to end. And, you know, that was something that had to blow up in my life. And then that happened right after the brain injury. And so it was just, and then my dog died. It was like, it was just like I was just getting knocked down. Every time I try and get up, I was getting knocked back down. And that was because the universe wanted me to stay down. They wanted me to, you know, it's like, you got some shit to work on here, girl. You need to sit down and think about this. Like, no getting back up and running to the store and buying yourself something. No running over there to the bar and having drinks with people. No, you're going to sit back, shut up, and get over your shit. And so I was kind of forced into it. Even though, I mean, it was the snowstorm from hell that I was trapped in my house, you know, and I was just like, had to sit there. And that was my dark night. That's when I really had to face my demons and really had to release some stuff. And then, you know, it was probably when she started putting me more on the... Boy, when this is what I'm talking about. When she starts wanting stuff, she just is nonstop. Go over here. I want this. Go over there. Okay, so hold on. Let me just let her out real quick and I'll finish. Okay, so anyways, I gotta think back what I was talking about again. When I went into the dark, because so that then when they put me on the antidepressants, and because I was having a really, really hard time. Like, I was seriously, it was like I couldn't. My house, there was like a big, the top part was like a ledge kind of, and it was a big drop. And I kept looking up and looking up, and every time I just kept seeing myself hanging there. And I was like, oh man, it would drive me so crazy, because it's like a dark energy will come in and just keep putting these thoughts into people's minds. People don't understand that it is these energies, like you pull in these certain energies, and you can't say that they're trying to do something mean. They're trying to relieve you from your pain. Oh, here's a way out. Just take it. You know, and you don't know who that energy is. It could be somebody who they did it and they can't get over it, and now they're running around telling everybody else to do it. Like, you know, where people think of it as like ghosts and demons and all that stuff. It's not like that. It's energies. And a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of stuck energy, you know, and they can't move up out of their vibration that holds them. So they can't move out of that energy. So some people can be very trapped in certain energy. And so they're coming, you know, you pull in, that's an energy that's strong inside of them. Then that energy incites in you, and it tracks, and then it pulls them towards you. And then they want to feed into making you feel better. then it's just like, hey, just take the out. Just take the out. You can feel better, you know? And then you're going to be over there with them like I can see the different conversation. Like I can see some of this stuff so clearly. And, but it isn't the way that you want to go. You don't want to take the quick out because of as soon as you get over there, you're going to be like, oh my God, I cannot believe I gave up. I can't. Oh, she opened the door. Hold on. I got to shut the door again. Okay. Oh, goodness. So anyways, you don't want to take the quick out thing because it is, when you get over there, you feel like you failed yourself. Where people think like somebody's going to be sitting there judging you. You're going to be judging yourself. You're going to be the one who's sitting there going, oh my God, I cannot believe it. Especially when you can go back and you can realize, oh, that was temporary. It was almost over. The next day I was going to, something good was going to happen. It was going to start me on my next, the portal to the next opening, the change. Because everything is just different experiences, different realities. Everything is open space. Everything it is, man, it's like I can see this stuff. It kind of looks like a grid system thing, but those are the portals, the things that attach. We are the portals. We are the energy that brings one reality into another reality. But it's how they tell us this is a place and you need to travel this way to get here and there and all that stuff. Then we believe that is what we need to do. So we follow the steps to do what we're told is the way to do it. But it was another thing that I noticed when I was driving this time. Because as soon as I started getting ready, especially because it was so quick, because I was planning on leaving the next morning. I'm just, cleaning the house, getting ready, making cookies and stuff like that. And then my mom says about there's going to be a snowstorm. I hadn't even thought to look. And so then I was like, fuck, I better hurry up and go because that will suck. To go on a dry day where the weather is nice and go across the pass would be so much better. Going through the rain, even in traffic, when it's raining and it's pouring and you can't see good and people keep cutting in and out of traffic, that sucks. And so I was like, man, I got to go on a dry day. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to gather my shit up and go today. I'll be there in a few hours. It's not like it's a million miles away. So I started doing my stuff and got ready to go. And so in my mind, I'm sitting there going, what is this drive going to be like? And so I just stopped myself and I said, no, I'm setting the intention. I know this drive is going to be what I want this drive to be. And if I sit there and think, oh, it's going to be tedious, it's going to be this, then it's going to be that. So I was like, okay, I have the awareness that this drive only exists because I believe it exists. And so I was like, okay, I'm letting go of this drive. I accept that this is how my mind thinks I have to get there. So I accept that this driving is the way I have to get there. But the drive doesn't have to be what I don't want it to be. And I can let go of this drive. And so I can just be like, here, you guys take over. You take this drive and I'm just going to sit back in the passenger seat. Y'all do it. And so that is what I did. I swear to God, I spent a lot of it in meditation. I swear it was crazy. There was only a couple times where I even pulled back in and had any kind of interaction with any kind of car at all. And but the drive was so easy. I swear to God, even when I got there, I said it felt like I was in a hover car. It didn't even feel like I was on the ground, and it was so trippy. And it went so fast. It was so nothing. And then on the way back, so I did the same thing. And on the way back, it was the same. And I know that we'll be able to get more and more into this. I even was noticing with planes up in the sky. I saw one and it was going and it went, it was ridiculous. I've never seen a plane move so fast. And then I saw another one and it was just going so slow, like it wasn't even moving. I was like, man, everything is just fake. Like, everything is a show. Nothing is real. Like, it's so trippy. And, what was the other thing? Oh, she's going to keep getting whiny, so I know I'm going to have to go. Let me think. I'll try and post this, and I will get more organized. I hadn't posted in a week, so it was going to be really choppy. But I did see, so I guess Juan is out saying that this weekend, this is it. We're going to SAR this weekend. And I've seen so much stuff where it's building up to, so April 1st is the first of the new year. That is really our new year. And it's something, I think, with the solstice, spring, and stuff like that. I don't know. But, or equinox, I don't even know all stuff. There's so much hidden stuff. There's just too much information. But it's the new year starts then. And so it's supposed to be this weekend is when they're going to take it down. Like, it's the end. And we're going to go into the new money thing. They're going to lock us down Sunday evening, supposedly. There's going to be some broadcast that says everybody needs to get to their homes. And then once everybody's in their homes, they're going to start the TV screen disclosure event that's supposed to go for a few days. Or there will be no power. And then when the power comes on, we're going to have the disclosure event. I don't know which way it's going to go, but supposedly this weekend is going to be when the money thing is going to switch. And so I'll be so excited when everything starts going. Man, God, it's going to be so... there's so much stuff, so much absurd shit. And I mean, whatever they're doing in Ohio, like I don't even know, other than the fact that, Ohio has history. There's a lot of history that's being brought back up, like the Crow in, I think, Mississippi or Tennessee. One of those places, they're bringing back the Jim Crow thing or something. It's so, to get the new reaction. Are people going to just be like, no, people are going to be outraged. People are going to say, hell no, we're not going to live like that. And so that is to complete the circuit, to change the energy. It's full circle. And so, the outrage is pulling this one on us again. And people just have to see, this is the realization, the taking a stand, the seeing the truth. It's all of that same stuff. So all of these things are going to keep coming up. I mean, there's something obviously really significant over there with Ohio. The only thing I know about that I thought was really weird is some of the names of these cities that they're Middle Eastern. And I just thought that's kind of just strange that these cities I keep hearing about on this Ohio map river thing, how are a lot of those names. And so I was like, I think that's weird. Because of the stuff about where they're saying we're really in Egypt and we're not even, like, I don't know. There's so much manipulation that goes on here with the maps, and our existence is a lie. Like, everything is a lie. So, there's going to be a lot of lies that are coming out. But I think there's some significant reason why there's such a heavy attack on that area right now. So, but and also on the West Coast, like that's a big, I don't even know what's all going on over there. And when I'm going on the videos, I'm not seeing a lot of the stuff from those kinds of places. And I don't know if it's being hidden now, even the absurdity where they're saying that in America, if you get the whatever this code thing is, so you can, if you wanted to have TikTok, you need a different UPC or whatever the code thing is, I don't remember, but you have to get a different one from another country. You have to say you're from another country or something. But now they've made that a federal crime here. Like, if they say there's no TikTok, you're not allowed to get it. No way. And if you do, you could be fined up to $2 million. Like, the absurdity of this shit. Like, when they go in hard. Like, we're taking away your rights here and there, Anybody who notices, we'll just ridicule them. Then we're going in hard, and we're going to really go in and show, we're really taking away your rights. This is the absurd part, to get the other people to be like, yeah, I guess you're right. They are taking away our rights. Yeah, that's what we've been saying. Fuck, I said that over the weekend so many times. And luckily there was somebody who has a TikTok account who, was thinking things more. And it's like, yeah, all you people with your regular accounts, you're going to lose your accounts because they're censoring people like me. And so, yeah, it's going to affect you. You're going to be shut down so that people like me can't talk. And so then it is, they start seeing, oh, well, your right, you losing your rights is affecting me now. Now you got my attention. As I've been saying the whole time, when people, the rights being taken away affects them, they get, you have their attention. Until then, it's somebody else's problem. That's going on over there. Oh, well, I can't worry about that. I got to get to work. This is my time off. I've only got a few hours here, So it's to keep you disconnected from your fellow man, to realize, because like they were taking away rights in these other countries where we, with our arrogance, thinking that we were doing better. No, these smaller countries were just being taken over, and it had to get to the point where it was affecting us. We're in the hostile takeover. And only some of us see. And so, it gives new perspective over what is happening. And so it is, everything has to do with awakening. Everything has to do with waking up and living your truth, living the way that you want to live. And you have to be able to heal and let go of things. And you can't expect anyone can do it for you. Nobody can heal your stuff. And you have to get to the point of being able to stand strong in your beliefs. And, vulnerability isn't a scary thing. It's not, it's everything that people are going to do at this point is going to feel hard in the beginning because it's new. Everything is going to be new. But just come at life at this point like you did as a kid. Things were new. It was exciting. It wasn't scary. People are scared because they are so used to what was before. Breaking a habit is, when you develop a habit in 30 days, breaking it takes a lot of really focus. And so, and that's what's going on. We've been in a habitual life practice that was all based on programming. And so breaking all that, everything is going to feel uncomfortable. Everything is going to feel weird. And, and then trusting your gut, trusting that start listening to the voices in your head, start talking back to them, start understanding there's different personalities going on. There's different people talking to you. Like, start really quieting the mind and understanding what's going on. Then start realizing about your own energy. And when you're in low energy, you're pulling in those kind of, and you can't just say they're demons and evil beings. No, some are trying to really, like, you're miserable, just end it. Just end it. I understand misery. Misery is so miserable, That isn't somebody who's like, yeah, I'm going to steal your soul. No, that is like, people have got to, and if you start seeing an energy, like I've got all these motherfuckers in my hall all the goddamn time. If I just sat here all day long and every time one runs at me and I walk down the hall, if I sat here being haunted by them, then I would be putting energy into that. Then I would be putting fear into that. I would be putting it, to me, we're just sharing a space right now. We run into each other sometimes. If they're coming at me aggressively, I'm going to ignore it. I'm not going to give them energy back. I'm not going to play any games with them, so, it's a way but you have to start realizing that they're real and realizing that, they don't carry the energy you think they do unless you give them that energy. And so You know, and you got to realize that this world is supernatural. This is not the world that you think or that you've been told. This world is very different. This world is literally realities and portals and beings and all sorts of beings having different experiences. I just saw a thing about some lake, I think in I can't even remember now where they said. It was some huge lake. It wasn't Lake Havasu, but it was some, I think it was in Michigan, but it was some big lake that has more deaths, more drownings than any other lake anywhere, I guess, in America. And for the size, it's got way more than normal. It's a really huge lake, but other huge lakes don't have near the amount. And but the thing is they said that so many of the people, when they drown, that they will jump in, and the people will say they never came back up. They jumped in and just disappear, and their bodies disappear and everything. There's portals, there's other beings, there's stuff around us that is what people don't understand. And, you know, like this is how weird it is. You could have a being down there that net those fucking people, take them into their reality and put them in a goddamn bird cage and keep them in their own little thing, as, you know, like how we keep birds in a bird cage. Like, just like how in a stair, they can put stairs in the forest. You know, there's portals everywhere. There's ways to go into other realities, you know, in the forest, because they, you know, there's a reason they want to keep us out of the forest and stuff. In the forest is, you know, a different kind of energy where other beings can come, but also we're hunted. You know, we're a food source in the forest just as any other animal is. And so, you know, and there's creatures that come here to hunt us. And so, you know, there's creatures that we are used as trade, as currency, you know, and then people have to just realize we do that to other beings as well. Like, look what we do to monkeys. Look what we do to exotic pets. Like, we do these things. These are different souls coming in to have different realities. And yeah, they would know ahead of time. It wasn't a surprise that they were going to end up caught in a cage. You know, there's nothing happens to a soul by surprise. The soul is experiencing. That's what a soul is doing. It's not being surprised by life. It's experiencing, watching itself. It's observing itself. Just as all the watchers are observing us, we are observing ourselves. And, you know, when you get to the other side, either you played your part well, or, you know, they see a part of themselves that they want to develop in a different way, or in the same way but more. You know, I mean, it's souls make their own choices. There's no God over you that hates you, that is in control of you. So anyways, Stella is just really, really antsy. And I don't even know if this one will go on. But I am going to keep going more into more stuff about my story to help people be able to see, because people don't see how to get over things. And it's the resilience. It's just to keep going, keep going. Yeah, shitty things happen. You get knocked down all the time, but it's up to you to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and just say, okay, what's next? Let's go, you know. And remember, everything is temporary. Nothing is forever. No matter if things seem so fucking horrible, like you'll never, you know, it's not the end. It's not the end unless you make it the end. So don't end on a bad note. Keep it going, push through, and you'll see things will get better. You learn things that happen for a reason. They're not happening for no reason. They're happening to help you grow, to help you expand. So, you know, don't get caught and feeling that, you know, there's no hope, and, you know, there's always hope, and everything is always in change. You know, just like the wave is in movement, it can seem like it's kind of doing the same thing for a while, but then it's going to go and it's going to crash. I think we're going to have that crash this weekend. I guess I saw Beach Broadcast sent me an email, and she showed on her little thing on the Wall Street thing, or all of the arrows are going down red, and they're all pointing down and dropping quick. Because everything, all the corporations, all the insurance, all of these things, even where people, like, we're paying insurance companies still. And nobody's going to get anything back. All these corporations are going to go bankrupt. They're all going to crash. It's going to take down every single bit of them. We're going to see how everything was so attached and so toxic and so disgusting, how medical was attached to the Roundup, and that stuff is going to be shown, very much to where people see, and people are going to be like, good, let them crash. And that's how any of us who see the truth feel. I'm like, fuck yeah, let them crash. And be glad watching them burn. And then, and knowing as you heal and stuff, you begin to know, you develop, your own strength. You don't need this shit. And it's changing your priorities. I don't need a big damn house and 2.5 kids and 2 cars and, all the things that they told me what I needed to be the American dream, the success story. I don't need that stuff to feel successful anymore. I feel successful because I've healed. I feel good in life. I'm happy. So I feel successful. I feel like, man, I'm fucking living the dream because I live in a certain perspective and I understand what life is about. And I can see, I just see things that other people don't see. Where people want to think like it's psychic and stuff like that. I think it's just the detaching from one reality and opening your mind to possibilities and seeing through the illusion, seeing the truth. It gives you more vision. So anyways, just everything is changing, everything is showing, everything is falling apart, everything is absurd as fuck. So that is to, the absurdity is to get people to question. Don't forget, when you all of a sudden realize, you look over and you see the absurdity and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they were doing this right under our noses. And it's gotten so much more obvious and so much more disgusting. And the people still aren't seeing. They're going to be really humiliated. They're going to be really embarrassed. So remember, have empathy and compassion, especially if shit goes down this weekend and you're stuck in the house with people who don't put away the I told you so's. They do not matter. Just get your box of tissue out and let the people cry it out. Let them realize, they're going to feel so much shame and ignorance. Don't pile on your opinions of them. Have some compassion and empathy. As soon as you start being around the people who start seeing themselves, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt them. So, and it's going to be a lot to get over. So anyways, guys, we're going to be going into some hard healing times for people when this goes down. So anyways, remember, all the healing that you've done was to bring you into that place of not being I told you so, you should have listened to me, of just being compassionate and realizing, that this is what their soul wanted to go through. This is how their soul, whatever in their past lives and all their stuff, the way shit is going down for them was the way it's supposed to go down. They just don't remember yet. They don't know. And so it's going to be a different impact until they get in touch with their soul and start putting it all together and seeing, oh, it was supposed to happen this way. And they start seeing more and putting more together. But it's going to be just all of a sudden, somebody's just going to, the Jenga board is going to fall and it's going to be hard. So anyways, just stay in your truth. Don't hide who you are. But, don't be over the top pushing, on to other people, because then you're in ego. When you need to, push your beliefs on someone else, that's your ego. And this is what we're doing, ego work. So recognize your own stuff, and there's going to be a lot. It's going to bring up a lot of stuff and a lot of people. And so, and you're going to see, because there are a lot of people who don't listen to me. And they're going to be out there. There's going to be some fucking hard stuff that's going to happen between some relationships with that I told you so's, when people are at their worst. It's like somebody is on the ground and they've just been beaten down and you've got to walk by with your boots and kick them in the teeth a couple times. That's the kind of energy you're bringing to the table when you do that. So you gotta see, these people are gonna take a gut punch like you've never seen before to realize how tricked they've been. And it was right under their nose, and that everybody that they thought was crazy wasn't crazy. It's gonna hurt. So just keep that in mind. So anyways, everybody's gonna see themselves. There's no getting away from that. We all get to see ourselves. We get to witness who we are as people, as individuals. How we treat others matters. So anyways, be strong and be true and be compassionate. And I will try and post this one, and I will be back tomorrow, and I'll just post them all as I should be able to post tomorrow. But we'll see. If I can today, I'll put this one on, and then I'll put the other two, and then I'll start tomorrow. And but there was those couple of things. So then, sorry, and so there is, and there's probably so much more brewing, you know, but definitely, I hope those people, yeah, they are going to try and herd them into a certain area. Yeah, I sure hope enough people are smart enough to go the opposite direction. You know, anytime they start doing any kind of evacuation, just look at the doomsday map. Look for a safety place that you can go. And remember, you know, you can live in a tent, at least like now it's spring. And until this stuff starts, you know, everything is going to start falling into place. The money thing will, but there's going to be so many deaf ears. There are going to be so many people who can't hear because they're so stuck on what they lost. And so that is going to be it is like when somebody tells you something that just is too much, in how it's like, okay, I got to process. That is what's going to, and they're going to be so emotionally charged. And you know, like anybody, if you've ever been around somebody who gets really angry, once they get that emotional charge, for them to reel it in is really hard. So we're going to have these people who are emotionally charged, unhealed, not hearing right, really, you know, they're not going to understand the money thing is the best thing that could ever happen. They're only going to think about what they lost. They're only going to be angry. So, and there's going to be way more than that. Like, it's going to get way worse when people start realizing that they're family members that they're losing, even families that are losing children. And there's no reason for anyone to die. That we've got these med bed things. Like, that is when I think we're going to really, really see some hard feelings. When people realize that the technology, it has all been for these certain group of people to make money off of us, and how they have created every, you know, I mean, they became the mortician. I'm not saying every mortician is this way, but they became every single way. You know, like, oh, well, we'll create sickness, we'll create death, we'll create this, we'll create that. And then anybody who does go into any of the fields, like, it's not just Hollywood, it's the medical, it's every single field is controlled by this group. So, you know, and that's the one thing that people are going to all have to recognize for themselves, like education. All these good, you know, these socially minded women who went into teaching, who wanted to do something good to help kids, who found themselves being controlled by an agenda of administrators, you know, they all have to come to terms with that. Like, everybody has to see the part they played in this warped world and face themselves of like what they were willing to do for $1. You know, there's a lot of us that did some stupid shit for $1, you know, and that is where you have to recognize inside of you, this part of you that just yearns to be accepted, yearns to be, you know, successful. It really wants to, you know, there's a yearning inside of you. It's just misdirected. So anyways, I'll just stop talking. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.